Well, speaking of busy, David, you're a very busy man. You're involved in other bands. You formed the Lucid, Death, and you've also recently joined Metal Church. I believe you're playing with them in the last few days. You've
Right.
also founded Ellefson Films, Ellefson Music Productions, Ellefson Books Company. Do you ever get bored?
No, I'm pretty ambitious.
He doesn't have time to get bored.
Right after we played Donington after that year, about a year and a half later, I got clean from an old lifestyle, and
Right.
that has really been the change for me. Was to just sort of be restored back to my youthful ambition. Of when I was 11 years old, listening to Kiss and Sweet and BTO and Sticks and Foreigner, and a bass guitar landed in my lap, and that just was my only ambition in life was that. So at age 25 to get the reset button on that has been really that's it. I mean, that's the driving force, because it took all those other obstacles out of the way.
Excellent.
That's
Excellent.
and look, I'm not an anti-party guy. People can party and do whatever they want, but for me, I just found that when I cleaned my life up, I got a lot more focus. My friend Al Petrelli, he told me in 2002, he became a good musical friend of mine. He's an educated musician. I just saw him with Sabotage last week over in Germany, and he's like a lot of people in my life, one of my best friends, even if we only talk or see each other a couple times a year. It's as if we were hanging out yesterday, and he's the one who told me, he goes, David, just say yes to things, and that's because I was scared. I was in one band for 20 years. Since I was 18 years old, I was in Megadeth, and then finally at age 38 it disbands, and I'm like, now what do I do? I had a lot of responsibilities and bills to pay, and suddenly all that faucet was completely turned off on all of us. So at that point, I had to relearn how to live my life, and as all we don't grow from when things are great. We grow when things get tough. That's just a fact of life, and we
Yep.
can enjoy when times are good, like they are now. But so it's those transitions, and in fact, Jeff and I got to be in the band during a really fun period, but it was also a period where I think, if we're honest with ourselves, we knew there were signs saying bridge out ahead. You know what I mean? Because the lifestyle, just everything that was going on at that point. And, by the time we turned the corner into the 90s, that lifestyle was no longer acceptable, even in rock and roll.